When I was shy and couldn't talk to girls, I always looked around and wondered how these dudes that seem like complete assholes pull all the girls. But whenever I tried being that asshole, I just got left on red. If you also ever wondered how these douchebags seem to get all the girls you want, you're on the right spot. Because Harvey Specter leans into that exact character, and with this analysis, you know how to act to get the same results.
Let me clear that for you.
Thank you. I have to say, delicious dinner, fantastic wine. Almost enough to make up for the mediocre company.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Now instantly, you can see what kind of character Harvey Specter is. Essentially, he's arrogant, okay? But it's not in a way where it's like, oh, he's such a douchebag, I hate this guy. Where he's just boasting about what he got and stuff, like a business student who's just, got parent money. He's more like witty, where he says this stuff kind of like in a very arrogant way, but it's still funny. You're kind of like, oh, what a dick. But you say it with a smile, right? Because it's funny. He says it in a funny way. It's like this cocky attitude. There are different types when it comes to like flirting as a man. You can have this cocky attitude, or you can do it in like this aloof way where you're very calm and you're very cool and you don't say a lot. It's like Ryan Gosling. I will make a analysis on him too. Harvey Specter here is very like cocky, right? He gives her a lot of shit, a lot of fun stuff though, where it can, a lot good banter, where it's like, it's just good conversation.
You're not mediocre. See, that's funny because you were talking about me.
But why it's working so well is two things. That's what I usually got wrong when I start. I'm more of this cocky type too when I'm with girls. It's very, very important that you hold strong eye contact while you do it, because otherwise when you give out these comments, otherwise it seems like you kind of got this comment out of like some book and you just, reciting this. If you're not holding eye contact, it just doesn't give off the same energy. You seem insecure in a way. It doesn't seem like it's really you. You need to be, if you're cocky, you need to be confident as well. You need to be completely, almost a bit arrogant. Okay, you can't have insecure body language and then be cocky, because then it's weird. It doesn't add up. And also what's really important, because most girls will not get your humor, is that you will always have to deliver the line with a little smirk, kind of like he does here. You don't always want to laugh, you can also do that, but you definitely want to make sure to show her that it's a joke, you smirk, you just having fun. If you deliver it with a straight face, she will be like, oh, that's weird. And then you have to explain yourself, and when you explain yourself, it's pretty much done, right?
There it is, the Spectre smile.
What can I...
He will flip it on her again right here. Give her cocky get-backs and stuff. But one little thing I want to add here too is, ideally, you want to have fun when you're with a girl. That's what a lot of dudes get wrong. That's not really body language, but it's still important, okay? You want to have fun when you're with a girl. Most guys concentrate way too much on hoping that, she likes me, and how will she see me, and will I say the right thing? You don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on you having fun, on you having a good time, and even to the point where you're like, is she the right one for me? Is she cool? Does she have good banter? Is she fun to talk to? She needs to kind of prove herself to me. You need to get in this kind of mentality, because if you only think about yourself, you will come off as so weird. And the worst thing is, even if it works at the end, which it probably won't because you're way too much in your head, you will not have a lot of fun if you're constantly trying to prove yourself to her. You will not have a lot of fun. That's the exact reason I got like cocky. I was always the type of guy who was very shy around girls, and I didn't have fun. I didn't enjoy myself. It was always the same questions. It was always boring conversation. And I thought it's just the girls that boring, but it's not the girls, it's you. You ask the wrong questions. That's why it's boring. If you want to have fun, you need to have fun. And you can have fun by just, making comments like this, doing jokes that you find funny. And if you laugh about yourself and she doesn't, who cares? Because at the end of the day, you will have fun. And if you don't hit then you don't hit, but at least you had a good time.
I say, it came with the name.
And you're never fully dressed without a smile.
Being fully dressed is overrated.
The strong eye contact while he delivers the line, and then I don't know if you saw it, you know, I was just looking her up. You know, he kind of went over her entire body with his eyes for a second. That is very important. Guys are also really scared to look at girls. You're like almost like, you know, I don't want to objectify her. I don't want to look her up. I don't want to look at her body and stuff. Like, of course you have to, right? Essentially, you just show that you like what you see, that you're interested in her, and that you have an attraction towards it, right? Don't be scared to do that. And when you deliver those lines, do it with a strong eye contact.
It is when you look.
Now look at this, okay? I always told you that leaning forward is submissive and that it indicates that someone is interested in another person. Until now, I only saw dudes in those scenes doing it, and I always said that you probably shouldn't do it. Now, it's the girl doing it. That's phenomenal. The way she's leaning forward and he's still in his body language, unfazed, is really good. Like, if you're in that situation, you're almost won. That means you're on the right track, right? If you're on the date and she does this and you stay calm like this, you're on a really, really good track. Because she leaned forward, which means she's submissive and she's interested in what you're saying. And by not changing up your body language, by staying the way you were before, like Harvey Specter does right here, you will indicate that you don't really care. You're not that invested in her. You're not needy. You don't need this date to go well or whatever, which is very attractive because you have abundance. You don't really care. And if you don't care, if you are not needy, she wants you to be needy. She wants you to need her. And if you don't, she will chase you. So that's a really, really good dynamic he's in right now.
Like me.
Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to...
Now look at this, okay? Again, this is like his cocky attitude, you know, the little neck. What he's saying with the Mrs. Robinson is like, you know, essentially playing on her age, right? Mrs. Robinson is like a woman who's like out with a lot of younger dudes and stuff. So him saying this right here is essentially de-escalating the situation. So she made it really flirty by going forward and, you know, made it a lot more intimate, and he diffused his energy. In this situation, if a girl would do that, most guys would instantly jump on this opportunity and be like, oh my God, yes, you know, I want you as much as you do right now. But what attraction is all about is the build up and the diffusion of lust and attraction all over again. That's what makes people go crazy over each other, right? You get this, oh my God, it's, you know, it's getting harder, it's getting more intimate, and then it's getting diffused again, and then it's getting hard again because it's flirty again, and then it's getting diffused again, and then hard and cold and hard and cold, right? It's like this push-pull method. Girls are going crazy for this. It's like heavily emotional. They don't know where they stand. They don't know if you really want them. And this is what he does right here. She's trying to make it more intimate, and he diffuses it by, you know, negging her for her age. You know, are you flirting with me, Mrs. Robinson? You need to be really good at flirting, but by watching those videos, you can instantly improve your flirting skills and your ability to talk with girls without actually having to do it.
Excuse me?
Did you just call me Mrs. Robinson? Okay, first.
Okay, this worked really well. All right, you saw how she instantly, you know, kind of like folded, and now she's explaining herself. She got insulted. You know, it got to her. And she also, as maybe you saw it, she broke the eye contact that they had before by looking down. You know, she looked down for a second. Looking down is always submissive. When leaning in is, you know, pretty much telling you that you're on a good track. If she's breaking eye contact by looking down, it pretty much says that you won.
Well, I'm younger than Anne Bancroft.
Anne Bancroft was hot.
Which brings me to second of all, I'm hotter than Anne Bancroft.
I'm hotter than Dusty.
Now look at this again. Now, still, he's been holding eye contact for like at least 10 seconds. This cocky attitude of him only works so well because he's fearlessly holding eye contact with her. Holy shit, what is going on?
It's returned. Hello, your computer has virus.
Okay, I fixed it. Yeah, easy. And you can see how she kind of got insulted, had to explain herself, which is phenomenal as well. You want the girl to explain herself to you because it gives her this need to prove herself to you. And if she needs to prove herself to you, it puts you in the situation where you're kind of the prize. And when you're the prize, you really just need to lean back and enjoy the show, right? Because it's so easy to go from there.
No.
Not in Tootsie.
And now look how they're again making the situation more flirty. How he de-escalated before by kind of nagging her after she made it more intimate, and now they're going back out here to the kind of second hill where it gets more intimate again. And this is attraction. This is how attraction works. It's this game of here's hot up here and here's cold. It's this game of going hot, then cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, messing with the emotions.
Are you afraid you're gonna lose this thing?
Now you can see again how she's diffusing the situation, right? We were just on a hill, now she's changing the topic, and it's kind of taking the intimacy out of the conversation. It's getting colder again. This is attraction. You can say attraction is just looks and he's hot, so she wants him. If this is not attraction, let's call it charm. Call it riz, call it whatever. This is the game.
No.
Right here. You can see the brows were kind of lowered. It is creased. His nostrils were kind of flared, and then here the way he pursed his lips slightly. Right? It's almost a look of disgust, kind of like, how dare you ask me this?
You should be.
Why? Because Lewis had one good direct?
He is very, very arrogant. He thinks he's pretty much above everyone else. And you can see that by his cocky attitude, of course. He's not been the bad company, but she was. He thinks he's above everyone else. You can see that again, the way he kind of downplays Lewis right here. It's like a guy on his firm. And he pretty much says, I'm him, right? He's below me. No one's as good as me. Here's the thing. People will say, people call you arrogant. You will still get girls. He still gets girls. Of course, it's the character, but people like him still get girls. Why? Because when you're arrogant and you own it, when people say, oh, you're so arrogant, you're like, yeah, maybe. Right? You play it down, you're like, yeah, I am. Who cares? That's really attractive because it just shows that you're confident within yourself and nobody can really change you. Girls go crazy for it.
You walk through life like men want to be you and women want to sleep with you.
I don't always walk. Sometimes I drive fast.
And it's exactly...
Here again, right? It's this kind of cocky attitude. It shows that he's arrogant. But it's not in a way where it's like, oh, fuck you, right? As she does right here, she smiles. It's kind of like, it's fun. It's funny. He owns being arrogant like this, but in this cool, fun way. People say arrogance is bad. It's not. If you own it and you do it in a funny way without bragging, then it's cool.
That kind of response that make the partners think you're an ass.
Being an ass doesn't make me guilty of fraud.
Again, right here, you saw how he was, not looking at her before, looking at his wine glass. And then when the important stuff came, he then starts holding strong eye contact. That's this emphasis on what's really important. Giving more emphasis to what's important by supporting it with your body language, by holding strong eye contact. It's really useful. You can use it in daily life all the time. You look away the whole time. You say, I'm really happy that I met you. And then you look at the girl and say, because you're beautiful. It just makes them think that what you just said, you really, really meant. Because you supported it with your entire body language.
If they're right about who you are, what would make them think they'd be wrong about what you do?
Well, why don't you tell me? You're the expert on warm and fuzzies.
You want to know how I know I wasn't the one to call you back?
Look at the strong eye contact again, right? It's at least 10 seconds or more. Don't be scared of holding eye contact. It's not weird. If you think you're holding a lot of eye contact, hold more eye contact. Of course, it's somebody that's staring and it's weird. But if you're in a conversation, and especially if she's not, breaking the eye contact either, keep holding eye contact.
Because I know why I wasn't the one to call you back.
Let me guess. You didn't like me.
No, I did.
Right here, You know, you saw his kind of face. The first time he showed a different emotion than confidence on his face. You saw how he was kind of raising his eyebrows right here. You know, how his pupils got slightly dilated. And his nostrils up there too, right? It's kind of like this, you know, you can see the surprise on his face. You know, people say that as a saying sometimes, but you actually can if you just pay enough attention.
But in all the time I knew you, you never once showed me any vulnerability.
I told you how I felt about you.
But you never...
Also notice how he's always going down with his voice. Okay, I think at this point, if you watch my videos, you know, always make statements. Always go down at the end of the sentence. All of those characters that you think are cool, that we analyze here, they are always going down with their voice at the end of a sentence, even with questions sometimes. Try to put more emphasis on it. Try maybe to practice in the mirror, or try to really, you know, remind yourself throughout the day, because it makes such a big difference.
showed me. So I had no way of knowing it's the truth. And you could be telling the truth now, but if you don't show the partner some emotion, they're not going to believe you either.
What do you want me to do? Manufacture a few tears?
Look, Harvey.
Again, you're right. How he went down with his voice twice. The strong eye contact still. And the little smirk that he did for a second, right? Big man smirk. Big men don't show their teeth really often. Smirking is really attractive and it's really underused. If you want to stand out, smirk more often. It's like, it's almost gives off this kind of aloof aura as well. You know, Ryan Gosling does it a lot.
When you're a defendant, you need the jury to protect you. There's no way they're ever going to protect you if they don't care about you.
Again, here you can see kind of this surprise on his face. Also, notice how his head is kind of tilted this way, but his eyes are kind of on the side here. It's not that crazy here, but usually when your eyes are on the side, like a prey look, right? If you look at bunnies, for example, bunnies got their eyes on the side of their head, right? You know, that's their head and the eyes are here. Humans or predators always have their eyes in the front. That's why it's also so important to, you know, keep looking in the direction you're walking while you're walking, because you look like a predator. You look, you know, more confident, more dangerous. This kind of look where you look to the sides here, it almost gives this prey look because your eyes are almost at the side, right? This is really a lot less dominant than if you would, you know, tilt your head fully here, or if Harvey would do it and then just look her straight into the eye. Because then the eyes would be kind of more in the center, more predator looking. But that was it of the clip. There's nothing coming afterwards. Thank you for watching. Stay big, man.